What you're about to listen to is a speech that I wrote and recorded back in 2009 or 10 when I was still able to use GarageBand. So it's not going to sound as good as what it might sound like nowadays. And that's okay. I just wanted to put it up to let you all know where I stood on these certain issues. Thank you so much. Alligator Babies. Imagine how many Barack Obamas we have slaughtered and tortured for small gains. Think of how many Martin Luther King Jr.'s we have fed the killer alligators, and how many mothers we have left crying about their babies. Think of the injustice, death of Tamir Rice, dead 2 seconds after the black and white cars break and the trigger was squeezed. His life was over. He would no longer go on to tell us about the red states and blue states, or relate to us of their dream, the one that we all have at one point or another. Imagine the flame that is extinguished and was done so by white men and women. Yet we do not hold them in contempt of their ancestors' actions. We gloss over it. We demonstrate the goodness in the strife. Yet, at a certain age and category of debate, our history must become more in-depth and far-seeing than ever before. It is not fair to see my black friends be stared at, questioned, infringed upon. It is not fair that so many black people have been brutally agitated and killed by police officers, done unjustly by judges, ignored by lawmakers, and tortured by a law that is evil at its root. This is not a call to blame. It is a rally of realization that we are not always blameless, we are not always faultless. We have to allow for criticism, like Barack Obama has allowed and done well with. When we admit our mistakes, we grasp firmly at the moral high ground, and that is the best combative advantage. Through this style of combat, President Obama had managed to negotiate the Iranians into a plan that satisfies all that matter without spilling blood or brash talk. He did this through tough, thoughtful strategy, applied relentlessly, without capitulation, to calls of violence from Republicans and warmongers alike. So, this baby, born of a Kenyan father, that only 100 years ago would have been fed to alligators as bait, has now grown up to be the strongest, most effective man of all time. This black boy that years ago would have been lynched and picnicked, to being shot and dead, and not allowed to breathe, to being the President of the United States of America. Ignorance of the most debilitating kind to have ever existed and continue to exist in the sick, twisted fantasies of the most authoritarian wing of the country, the right wing. Hold the Bible up. Control those good people that have been misled. This is the danger of Americans not understanding or wanting to see the world through the scientific frames. This way we can't take into consideration that there are too many religions that follow the Messiah pattern. Born of a virgin, died for our sins, and rose again from the dead. There are too many of those archetypal stories that are not factual. That does not mean that they do not have value of moral fiber fortification. Rather, that it is not infallible, nor written by God. But neither is the Torah, and neither is the Quran or the Hebrew Bibles. Knowing this would have been so helpful to many slaves and many cowardly men who partook in the disgusting humiliation and destruction of many black lives. Yet they held fast to good, to forgive them for their evil deeds. God was used as a crutch, used to veil ignorance and to beat people down with. God must signify goodness, not justice. How many Barack Obamas were killed? How many black mamas have had to shed tears at the death of their ebony prince's corpse? Too many. Too many, too many, too many. But no more, please. It changes everything. My father was my role model. Whatever he set his mind to, he was able to accomplish. That's how he built his 2 companies with the goal of providing rural areas with internet. His death at 44 changed everything. Even though I was just 12 at the time, I knew nothing would ever be the same. My father left behind little financial support for our family and no life insurance. We were on our own to struggle through the difficult times. Our family's strength crumbled, and our finances grew in disarray. There were times we had no electricity or water because we were so far behind with our bills. When I hit rock bottom, I knew it was only me who could turn things around. That's why I'm working hard to pursue a degree in computer science and engineering. What I'd like to say to you is that the death of a parent changes everything. Because my father didn't have life insurance, I didn't get the luxury of being a child anymore. I had to grow up quickly. Too quickly. Life insurance can't bring back a parent, but it can make the road afterwards easier for those left behind. This is a story by Miranda Rivera, who received the Life Lesson Scholarship from Life Happens, which assists students who are struggling financially to get an education due to a parent dying with little or no life insurance. My friends, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain a little. Number 1, it's free. 2, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will then distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you've ever been looking for to make a podcast in one place. Go ahead and download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Don't quit. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. And life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns. And many a fellow turns about when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up though the pace seems slow, you may succeed with another blow. Often the goal is nearer than it seems to a faint and faltering man. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup, and he learned too late when the night came down how close he was to the golden crown. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt, and you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when you're hardest hit. It's when things seem worst that you mustn't quit. The Daughters of St. Paul, Boston, Massachusetts.